Raider Nation, what is going on? What is happening? You are here for another episode here of the Raider Rundown, man. And without further ado, man, you already know what time it is. Make sure you guys are tapping on the like button and on the subscribe button. But today, man, what we are going to be discussing, we're going to be reacting to the Pete Carroll presser. Some of the things he said, some of the things John Spytek said. If you're watching this, I'm probably already going live already, or I probably didn't already went live or whatever the case, but thought I'd give my solo takes, solo opinion, you know what I mean, without anybody else on screen as well. So might as well go ahead and get that opinion. But without further ado, man, let me go ahead. Let's get the intro started and let's get the show cracking. What is going on? What is happening? What is the deal, man? Once again, like I said, you are back for another Raider Rundown episode. So now make sure you guys are tapping on that like button, on the subscribe button. This is not a live episode. This is a pre-recorded episode. But regardless of it, you probably going to be seeing me go live later with the homie. But like I said, I thought I'd give my, solo takes as well. My unfiltered takes on what I thought went down with the presser, what I thought the presser was about with John Spytek and Pete Carroll, man. But just generally, let's get this out the way, man. I like the presser. I enjoyed it, right? I definitely enjoyed what I saw. I'm not going to say like, oh, I'm thoroughly impressed, but to me, it felt there was some cohesion within everybody as far as the front office is concerned, right? It seems like, okay, there's a clear understanding of how we're trying to move forward. Now, that's my opinion. Now, if you want to move in a, you got to show me route, then that's a whole different discussion. And I think you are warranted, definitely, from what this organization done put us through, to feel like that, right? You are definitely warranted for that. But, from a guy that's like me personally that said I don't want Pete Carroll for a minute, what I heard in the presser is kind of what I expected and what I wanted to hear, right? As far as a sense of calm, right? A sense of, I want to say, at least some sense of leadership as well. In my opinion, that's what I saw. Now, there are some quotes that we can kind of dissect a little bit and kind of talk about, that was there. But I do want to go ahead before we get to starting out. Let's go ahead and share this facts. And always before we do, anything, I would do the roll call, but I already know some of my people in the building, man. Shout out all the Raider Rundown family and all the people that's joining, man. We got some new people that joined the family as of late, but you already know, man, we're trying to grow this fam as much as we can, man. So make sure you sharing it out to everybody you can. All the Raider fans that want that real unfiltered talk, make sure you go ahead, send this channel over to them. But as always, man, we got our graphics sponsored by none other than Raiders Resistance, man. Always supporting the channel with the most fire graphics. But as you can see, man, today there was a loud Raiders in the chat, right? Or not even in the chat, in the presser. And some people were wondering who that was. Marshawn Lynch, right? Marshawn Lynch was in attendance, man, to go ahead and get that shout out. And to me, it spoke mad volumes, bro. He was in attendance for Pete Carroll getting this Raiders job. I think it spoke volumes. Now, some of you, either you trolling to be funny or some of you are dead ass serious, right? Like, oh, Pete Carroll not going to work out, man, because Marshawn Lynch hates him. Pete Carroll ain't going to work out because Marshawn Lynch, he didn't get the ball to Marshawn Lynch and Marshawn Lynch got to hate his guts and blah, blah, blah. He's at the presser, right? He's there. So, meaning like, to me, there's love there. There's respect there. You know what I mean? He hasn't been his coach for a while, for a minute, for some years. There's respect. And also, he's coming to the Raiders, of course. You know what I mean? Marshawn is always going to show love when it's silver and black, and some is included in that. But at the same time, for him to show up, for him to really be in attendance, seated down like he one of the players, love that. Love to see it, man. Love to see it. You know, we got to hear it one time from
wherever our fans come from. We do want to fill our stadium up with our guys. I know that we have a good draw for people from out of town. There you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I love the fact that Marshawn was in attendance, man. I love the fact that Marshawn was in the building. To me, that spoke volumes as well, man. That was one of the best moments of the presser. But again, speaks volumes in the relationships that he can build, that he can cultivate, and at the same time, relationships that he can build throughout the years and maintain, right? That speaks to the culture. That speaks to the culture that what he's trying to build. Also, another nice little quotable that we can take from our guy Pete, right? He said, while Max is in attendance, right? Max, send the message, put the word out. Hey, to put the word out. We back up, right? Put the word out, we back up. But Max, send the message, man. We coming after you. We'll come find you guys and get this thing rolling. So, you know, for me, there are some things that I did not agree with the presser that I will say this. And I'm not going to come out here and just be all, you know, roses and dandy and glandy. Like, I'm not going to do all that, right? And glandy not even a goddamn word. But at this point, right, we're not going to be all handy dandy. There are some things that I did not agree with, as such as the win now method and things of that nature. Like, there are points to be made from some of the skepticism, right? And shout out to all, even some of my guys that are on the other side of that. There are points to be made. We've heard this isn't a rebuild, it's a retool, and all this other, you know, shit like that. We've heard that multiple times throughout multiple regimes. You know, it's been apparent, it's been a theme. Oh yeah, we're gonna come in here, man. We're not gonna rebuild this thing. We don't have to rebuild this thing. Oh, we're trying to go now. Like, save all that. You know what I mean? For me personally, like, yeah, that is a point to be made. Save all that. I don't want to hear all that. To me, I still continue around my timeline. Don't get my like cheerful tone confused with, oh yeah, like I think we're gonna go to the playoffs and all that. No, I still stand by my stance of like, yeah, I still think it's gonna take a year, two, to really get this thing up and rolling, how it's supposed to, right? How it's really supposed to be. Maybe even the 3. But I like what I'm hearing as far as the aspect of how he wants to build the culture, how he wants to go get these guys, be aggressive to go get his guys, man. Now, I know some people don't sound like whatever, but, you know, I liked when they started talking about, yeah, there are some guys that we not let leave the building, but then there are some guys that we got to go find. There are some guys that we got to go really acquire, right? And he talked about the Seahawks. And when he was there were plenty of transactions that went down. As far as who they traded, who they brought in. Now, did the trades work all the time? No, but he spoke to it as saying, yeah, that's just finding our guys. Sometimes finding the guys that fit within this locker room, right? So that would be that right there. So I definitely did like that. I am excited for the fact that if we're gonna be for me personally, I'm excited for the fact that we got aggressive with the GM, and the GM looks like a guy to be young, and he looks like a guy that wants to go search and find whoever he feels is a fit for his team and organization, right? Pete Carroll seems to be on board with that. And this is the thing. I didn't want somebody in the GM chair that is cool with taking a cool approach, easy approach. When you say this and when you say we're going to go find our guys, sometimes it's not the easiest. Sometimes it's not easy to do certain things, right? Sometimes it's not easy to let certain guys go because you think, I don't know. But in the long run, or in certain instances, when you swap out certain players for certain players, you get to thinking, okay, that was the move that was needed. That's what we needed to do, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes you have fan favorites that are in here. Sometimes you have players that, oh, man, the fan base, I don't know how we can let him go. He's a bona fide stud. But then you bring somebody else in here that actually does the job, right? That does what's required. Then it looks different, feels different. So that's what I think some of that is. And I really do think we have the people in the building that's going to do that job, right? I really do think we have those people that are going to go acquire their guys. And it doesn't matter kind of what it takes a little bit, right? Do we got to move up? Do we got to trade? Do we got to let some guys go? Who do we keep? I really want to see all that unfold as it goes. But really with Spytek as well, man. Spytek gave me some nice quotables as well when you're talking about how his philosophy in acquiring players, right? And his philosophy of who he's looking at. And of course, you're always going to say the prototypical shit, like when it always comes to, man, we're looking for guys who love football and all that shit. Well, and actually, like, I can say it's prototypical, but it's really kind of not prototypical because, once again, I say it all the time. Yeah, these players are getting paid to do the job, and these players are paid right there, but it doesn't mean they're getting paid to care about winning, right? Like, it is sometimes that don't correlate all the time, bro. Like, sometimes these players just care about getting paid, and it sucks to burst bubbles, but that's just the reality of the situation when money's involved in whatever, right? It don't matter what the hell it is, bro. You see, there's motherfuckers that work at McDonald's, bro, and there's no shade at that, but there's people that work at McDonald's. You got some people that actually take their job seriously. And then you got other people, they're still getting the same type of paycheck. Maybe not, but they're still getting the same type of paycheck. Some other people don't give a fuck about the job, right? Like, it doesn't matter if it goes from the Raiders organization to the McDonald's floor, bro. It's all the same goddamn shit when it comes to running an organization. So I think acquiring the right players, getting players that do care about the game and care about winning and love football is a big step. That is a step. And some people will say, like, oh man, that's trivial, that's whatever. I mean, but once again, bro, they're getting paid, but they don't get paid to give a fuck about winning. So that's another thing. But really also with acquiring players, the people, right? Really the people. And also him saying it doesn't matter where we have to look. And sometimes it's all in the spirit of competition. Sometimes it's just filling the room up with competition and the best player win. And he's been around a lot of quarterbacks as well. Some of the quarterbacks he's been around, some of the quarterbacks he's had a chance to help acquire as well are, some very interesting ones. He brought up Peyton Manning. He brought up Tom Brady. Of course, he helped him get to Tampa Bay. He brought up Baker Mayfield, bringing Baker Mayfield, I believe, trading and acquiring for Baker Mayfield at the time. When, it wasn't an overall sexy pick. It wasn't sexy at the time, bro. It was not sexy. We was not looking at that motherfucker like, my mind blanks. But at the end of the day, bro, we was not looking at that like it was a cool goddamn selection. But when they did get him, he was the right fit at the right time for that organization. So that's some of the things that I do think is going on, and that I do think that we will get. Now, now wrapping this up, there are some things that I do think we do got a quote on, and that we do have to kind of touch on that I really did, I want to say, enjoy, right? Now enjoy, intrigued, but at the same time kind of scared. So it's a lot of emotions all in one, now that I really think about it, but it's a lot of emotions all in one. And it's something that Pete said about his staff, right? We do got to talk about some things that Pete did say about his staff. Now, when building the staff, he did say some interesting things. Now, let me see. I'm trying to see where I can find the quote. Basically saying, though, that, when building the staff, he's kind of looking for some guys that he knows, guys that, they can challenge him, some new guys that he's never met before. So it's all a mix, right? It's all going to be a mix of some guys that, that you would hope. Oh, and also some guys that he keeps from the, also some guys that he keeps from the current DCs or current staff. You would hope that he keeps a certain amount of guys from the staff. Rob Leonard is one, right? You talk about also, I would keep Edgar Bennett as well. I think Edgar Bennett is one of those guys that I would keep. Who else? There's a finite number of guys that I would keep from the Raiders' current coaching staff. As I look this up, let me go ahead and look at who I had on my notes right here. But current guys that I would keep right now, man, I would definitely say that Rob Leonard is one, of course. Then you're talking about Edgar Bennett. That'd be somebody that I might keep. And also Luke Steckel. that'd be another guy that I might keep as well from the defensive staff. So I think most of the guys that I keep, and I think there's no surprise here, would be from defense. But offensively, we could probably Edgar Bender might be the only guy that I might keep, but everybody else, I'd be all right with letting go. To be honest with you, I'd be all right with letting go on the offensive side of the football. So going on defense, those are probably the only three guys that I might keep. But Rob Leonard is probably the non-negotiable for me. That's the guy. But we do have some good news on Rob, so we can go ahead and say that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you know, with Pete, I think that's the whole question mark. That's the crucial thing. And that was the question that everybody was waiting on, right? Like, what are you going to do to build your staff? What's the staff look like? So him saying, okay, maybe a mix of guys I know, maybe some guys I don't know, maybe, you know, some guys that are on the current staff. And then we got some news like couple hours later that Rob Leonard is now going to be in contention for the defensive coordinator position, which, dang, we've been talking about that for a minute. Right? We've been talking about that for a minute. I hope it happens that he does get considered strong and serious consideration. Right? I hope he does get that considered. If we're going to go young and we really talking about putting young behind Pete, then let's do that, bro. We already got the head guy and he's already, you know, the elder statesman, bro. Now let's go ahead and get the young coordinators that everybody's been looking for. Somebody will rise to the top as far as the coordinators. We'll have our answer about who the next motherfucker should be when the time presents itself. I do believe that at this point. But get some young dudes in here, man. Let's shake that dice on that. Let's see what happens, bro. I think that'll be the move. Both coordinators, that might be. Now, if Patrick Graham does decide he wants to come back, I would mess with Patrick Graham. I would say, okay, go ahead, bring PG back. Let's do that. Let's run it back. But as far as that, I don't know, bro. I think, you know, I'm really entertaining the Rob Leonard idea. I'm entertaining it. You know, not just for, and do I think it's going to work 100%? I don't know that for a fact. I can't say it's going to work 100%. But what I can say is that if you want that new blood and all of y'all was willing to shake the dice, then let's shake the dice, bro. We can't get squirrely now. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Let's do it now. So that was very interesting that you know, when he started talking about his staff and how he would kind of fill it out as far as that. Now, there's a couple things we got to touch on for we do go ahead and end this out right here. We'll probably touch a lot more on that if we go live with the homie a little later. But a couple things that I do want to touch on. Not only is Rob Leonard in contention, but we had some other news as well. The Raiders have requested to interview Hawks DB coach Carl Scott for the DC position. Now, I looked up some of the things he's done over his career, and impressive, right? Some of the DBs he's worked with have been very impressive. Now, of course, it's the rundown, so we got to go ahead and give you that rundown on who Carl Scott is. Just a quick one. So like I said, works with the Seattle Seahawks DB coach. So obviously somebody that, you know, Pete Carroll does know and does respect, but not only worked with the Seahawks, worked with Alabama as well. So has some history with that. Now he's been coaching for 4 years in the NFL. But he's been with the Minnesota Vikings and been with the Seattle Seahawks from 2022 to 2024. So he's worked with the likes of, you know, of course, Tariq Woolen, and he's worked with Devin Witherspoon, things of that nature. You know, you always look at Seattle's DBs, and they've always looked, you know, they've always had DBs they fly around, right? Even the safeties fly around as well. So you always looked at them, and their DBs always were sticky, right? They're always kind of sticky, and they always kind of got a certain profile to them as well, in the way that they do play. So I do kind of like that right there. But as you can see, another young up-and-coming coach. This isn't a guy that has a robust history, right? But this is a guy that is young. This is a guy that right here, again, we're rolling the dice with. So he's only 39 years old, of course. Been with Seattle since 2022, and he's worked under Pete Carroll towards the end of that Seahawks tenure. So he definitely knows Pete Carroll. Before that was the DB coach for Minnesota, of course. And then before Minnesota, like I said, he had 3 seasons working under Nick Saban at Alabama. So good tutelage if you're talking about that. And you can see why, you know, DB coach. Saban is a DB guy, right? Pete Carroll likes his DBs, right? So you can definitely see how that kind of translates the skill sets and, you know, the coaching tree where it comes from. So, you know, I like, as far as what he's done is and what his job has entailed, I believe he's done his job with the pieces that he's been given, because I definitely have looked at Seattle's corners and they've always had, you know, a nice little secondary. I don't think there's ever been really a year that I can think of where their secondary has been like legit ass cheeks. Like I can't really think about that. So not bad, right? But another one, like we said again, we got to talk about this one. And a guy that, you know, I think could be the favorite. I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, I think could be the favorite. And that's Rob Leonard, right? Another guy that is in contention for the vacant DC job. Now, of course, we got to go through his history, give the rundown on that. But again, a guy that does not have a robust coaching history, right? He does not have a long, lengthy history as far as how much he's done. Now, it's more than what we just said right now, as far as the last coordinator we talked about. But for Leonard, he's worked in the league since 2013, been with the Giants, then with the Dolphins, then with the Ravens, and then with us, right? So you go from the Giants as defensive assistant coach, not really, not defensive assistant coach. That doesn't really have a role to it. But then you now get a role in 2017 as assistant defensive line coach, right? So boom, now we there with the Giants in 2018, assistant linebackers coach. Boom, then you go to Miami as the full-time linebackers coach. Boom, back to 2020 as the assistant defensive line. 2021 as the outside linebackers coach for Miami. Had to go to Baltimore for 2022 as the outside linebackers coach there. And then with us for the last 2 years as a D-line coach. So as you can see, right, you go from overall defensive assistant to assistant linebacker to D-line, back to linebacker, back to D-line. Only thing he has not done is DBs, right? So you've been at all levels of the defense, working with all levels of the defense. That's good. I like that. As far as if we're going to take a shot as on a young guy, right, or as far as a younger guy, I like the fact that he would have worked with most levels of the defense, being an assistant, being that assistant coordinator, really getting his hands dirty in the nitty gritty of it, right? I would really like that. And like I said, the only thing he has not worked with is DBs, but I think, of course, you can get somebody as far as who will be under you if you are the coordinator. Get your DB coach that you respect around the league, and by all accounts, Rob Leonard is respected to where you feel comfortable with that guy coming in and being your DB coach. So I think that he can be the favorite as of right now. Damn, 6 minutes left. Bullshit. My bad. I'm over here trying to order food, y'all. No, how it goes when you over here trying to rush. Oh Lord. But yeah, man, when it comes to that, I definitely think that Rob Leonard could be the favorite. That can definitely be the favorite, in my opinion. And we going through that, like I said, 12 years in the league, been with all levels of the defense, somebody that's already been in the building. I've said it multiple times. He's already been in the building. The players respect him, not only on defense, but on offense. He's known, and then that's continuity for the players at the very least. You lose Patrick Graham. If we're still talking about continuity, we're changing coaches, not for the defense, though. The defense can still fly around, which is what you need, right? So that would be there. And last but not least, man, let's go ahead and talk about this. I'll probably talk about this a little later. We do these rumors a little later, but this is something I thought was very, very funny. I'll kind of bite the bullet as well because I guess I was wrong to a degree. When I thought that, oh, they were at the finish line. I thought all this. Wrong, right? So on that right there, eat the crow. That's on me, bro. So I'm wrong on that one. But overall scheme, bro, again, like, we were never no option for the man.
Johnson, we never made an offer to Ben Johnson, and he's a Chicago Bear.
So never made an offer. Never stamped that flag. And there you have it, right? Don't try to chase nobody that don't want you. Is what the theme of that is, ladies and gentlemen. Do not chase nobody that don't want you. So there you go with that. So once again, man, I think we made the hire that was the right fit, the right move for us at the right time. I know we want to chase this and that, but sometimes, bro, chasing people that don't want you end up getting your ass hurt, right? We all know that. So let's go ahead. When the fit seems like it works, let's not question it. Pete Carroll wanted us. We wanted Pete Carroll. John Spytek wanted us. We wanted John Spytek. Cool, we here. Let's work. So I think that is something to be said at the same time. Yeah, you want to bring in the hot shot mind. Yeah, you want to do all this. Yeah, you want, but at the same time, you gotta want people that want to be here. I don't want no coach or no young hot shot office coordinator like every day he gotta wake up at 5, like, shit. I gotta go into the goddamn job. If he gotta come into this motherfucker and he feel like he working 12-hour Amazon shift. No, I don't want that, bro. I don't. I know however corny it sounds, bro. I don't give a damn, bro. If the motherfucker feel like he gotta really work at the steel mill to really get out of bed to try to come to the facility, then no, bro. We're fine. I'm straight. Let's get a motherfucker that at least want to be here at the very minimum. Right, and then let's roll from there and let's start seeing the culture start to build. So that would be the show right there, ladies and germs. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button. You already know what time it is with me. Tap on the subscribe button if you're really feeling what you're hearing as well. If I'm going live a little later, you already know. Keep your notifications on because whenever I go live, it might be random. Tomorrow, we got our live show with Marcus Johnson, 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We will be talking about day 1 of the Senior Bowl tomorrow. So I know it was supposed to be today, but it got moved. Things had to get moved around, but it is what it is. We got better content tomorrow because we're going to be talking about actual practice film and notes and everything everything he done seen at the Senior Bowl. So make sure you guys tap in for that. And again, man, you already know what we say here, bro. We already keep it authentic from the clouds to the ground on the Raider Rundown. Be safe, and I'll see y'all in a minute. Peace.
I need a bad bitch with an accent, serving in peace, still taxing. Just got tapped for the young cash app, moonwalking like a young Mike Jackson. Yeah, shots to the head, ride clean and still fuck feds. Realest nigga and it's on my kids, so who the fuck gon' wanna test me, bitch?